Smoke them if you got. Right, I like it. So let's just make sure I win. So you just
I'll leave it to you to start when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the tip. Just need Kyle up here.
Just drop it off the big screen whilst you're just setting this up.
Like that.
You know, just what China did there, yellow
I'll do an intro in a minute, but I'd like to just have some assurance that. Should be recording straight into YouTube.
Oh yeah, it records into Tom's live YouTube. And then it records part of it, download. We can download from
Yeah, you can download from YouTube.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yeah.
This is
So I can do a bit of that and a bit of people watching it. Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is get people making. Which is my speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Friday afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay? We have been in contact with Tennessee in the US for our next guest speaker. We do have a change of program, I'm afraid, as Kira mentioned earlier. We were really looking forward to meeting and hearing from Jane Koons from Aarhus in Denmark, who's done some really great things around innovation in libraries. Sadly, due to family reasons, she was unable to attend at short notice, and luckily we've been able to persuade Corinne Hill over at Chattanooga Public Library just to give us a bit more of an international dimension around digital making. I would just ask you to bear with us. Although we've been in good contact with Tennessee, at the moment we're just trying to get them back up again. What we'd like to do, we've seen some of you doing some making, and today is all about making. And if you're not already aware, we've got a couple of tables of stuff. Just while we get the technical connections sorted out, could I encourage you to just do some making amongst yourselves on the table? Remember, there are prizes. And after this session, we've got a coffee session. We've got time for coffee. We'd like everybody to put their finished articles on the tables at the front. And then we're going to be doing a bit of a judgment thing towards the end of the afternoon. So could I just ask you for 2 minutes to do some making, talk amongst yourselves while we just get the technology sorted out. Yeah, it seems to disappear.
Oh, most recipe.
I've got your tweets.
Oh.
So presumably you might hang step back.
Problems at the how's it
Yeah.
okay? Okay.
That's
So how do we make this into full screen?
Oh, no.
That shares your screen. So that's what I was doing with Kyle earlier. Oh, it is on screen.
I mean, we can certainly make it bigger. Window.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that sounded like an unconnected noise. That was the question about inviting Corinne.
I'm doing that right now. Yeah. Oh God, which is Corinne's?
That's not her.
No. Don't know how this does it. Hang on, I've got it here. Hang on.
Oh, so she hasn't got pictures.
How do I get her email address from here? Oh. Do you think this is Corinne? I think we might scrap it as an air and just do a conventional video.
Right.
if it's not going to. I have done that.
So they're there and ready.
They've had a cable problem.
Had a cable problem, so we're just now resolving the problem of connecting each other.
One last go. Gordy and Corinne Hill. Maybe it's the wrong Corinne Hill.
That's the other option. He hosts it. By the looks of it,
Oh, we've got one viewer. Hang on.
okay.
Let's just see if. I don't know who that is.
Or is that here? Is that somebody just viewing it? Is it open public broadcast?
Yeah, it's just.
So it might just be somebody logging in.
Okay, he's just typing. Just wondering, we're in Nat's Whisker, but for some reason we've got the call up, but we can't get.
Got an invitation.
Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Right. One moment, Corinne. I'm just going to quieten the room. Hello.
Okay, I've got Tom.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Hi, Corinne. Hi, Corinne. I'm just going to put you on screen. One moment.
Hello.
Hang on. Okay. Phew, the technology has worked. Hello, Corinne.
Are we in?
Hello, Corinne. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Great. You're now broadcasting live to Exeter Library.
Can you text him? It's cutting out. Hey, can you guys hear me? Because you're cutting out.
We can hear you fine.
Okay, you're breaking up on us a little bit.
Okay, we can hear you well.
You're getting better.
Okay, good. What I'd like to do, Corinne, is introduce you, and then we'll let you talk if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, you broke up on me. I'm assuming you want me to talk, Tom.
When I give you the thumbs up, you talk, okay?
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as I explained previously, lucky to have Corinne, a connection from Tennessee. Corinne is currently the executive director of Chattanooga Library. She was named in 2014 as Library Journal's Librarian of the Year. She's been doing some really interesting and innovative work in public libraries, particularly their Core project, which they have arranged to do all the sort of innovative and exciting stuff that we've been talking about today. We're lucky to have Corinne with us. We'll put a video link below. So I'm going to hand over to Corinne now, and we'll see if we can make this work. Okay, Corinne.
Okay, Corinne, take it away. First of all, my apologies for the delay. Don't try this at home, right? The technology stuff. And it's always the cheap thing. It's the cable that kills you. You can spend $1 million on the boat, and then the line is the one that lets the boat float out to sea. So don't try this at home. I'm going to tell you a little bit. Self-maker environment, high-tech, low-tech in public libraries. And so I'm going to give you my take, because everybody usually pays attention right up on the front end, and then they fade off into the darkness as you finish. I'm going to tell you, I think, what I've learned over all of this, kind of the takeaway, is that you need, and maybe this is just the US, but if you're going to do this, or if you're already doing it, you really need to let the public engage in the equipment. I see it over and over again here in the States, where people, they have these maker spaces, but only the librarians can use the 3D printer. So you can, if you want to print something, you have to give it to the librarian to do, or if you want to do something on the laser cutter, only the librarian can do it. Like that's totally missing the deal. The idea is to help the public learn while you learn, so it's a complete, it's a complete learning experience for everybody. So that's my message. If you go away with absolutely nothing else today, it's about the public has got to be engaged. Otherwise, you're not a maker space. You're a doer space. So I'm actually on the 4th floor right now, and was disappointed that we don't have the technology so I could walk around and show you things. But maybe we'll do that next month. This report came out in 2009. It's kind of what got everything started here, and it basically just said that the Chattanooga Public Library was really broken, and it was just a big old mess. And so I came on board in 2012 to try to help them bring this around. The beauty of getting a really broken shop is that you get to blow it up and you get to fix it, and everybody's just really happy that you're doing something, anything. So there's a lot of forgiveness in that. So if you've got a really stable library, that can be a difficult barrier to break, of people letting you blow stuff up and letting you try something really new. This is where we are right now. This is the Chattanooga Public Library, our downtown branch. I've got 3 other branches in neighborhoods. This is the 1976 monster, original everything. Everything's a nightmare, nothing works, and we have no money to fix it. Chattanooga's super pretty. Love living here. It's a super outdoor quality. The quality of life's really high. Actually, we have an Ironman competition here starting tomorrow. Do they run in a whole day? I guess it's like Sunday or something. I try to ignore that stuff. I'll watch them from my patio with my margarita. So anyway, basically we got 170,000 people, like I said, 4 locations, and a really small budget of about $6 million US. And the beauty of being in a kind of a mid-sized city is that you've got a little bit more flexibility than like I had when I was in Dallas with 1.3 million and 32 locations. I'm a little bit more nimble. We're the gig city. We've got a high-speed broadband, which is really super. More and more people are getting it, which I'm really happy, because now we have people we can play with. This is kind of the example, right? This is the kind of stuff we found when we came up to the 4th floor. It was essentially used as a storage space. We started cleaning the place up. This was a bookstore that made $64 a year, but cost me $15,000 to run. It was just insane. Turned it into a coffee shop. We still do circulation from behind the counter, but again, the folks are making stuff. There's nothing passive about anything that we do, and like that whole philosophy, you can embrace it in your entire organization. It just doesn't have to be in one spot. That's the circulation and percolation. We love that. And our Shush coffee, it's our own blend. We're currently working on Chattanooga whiskey. They changed the law. We can distill it now within the city limits. They do it 2 blocks away from us. And I'm friends with the CEO, and we're going to work on a Chattanooga whiskey library blend. So I'm super excited about that. These are my baristas. They're professionally trained. I'm happy that they're staying to help us check out books because they'd probably make more money selling coffee. Again, a very traditional library. We do have a concierge, that's Andrea. She's our meter and greeter, and if you want to know where to go have lunch, she's your girl. We were not very accessible when I first got here. This was another entrance to our library that was blocked off. That's Rob, who does all the amazing work around here. And then they cut off the bathroom. So everything was about not providing access, and now we're all about every way we can provide access, whether that's physical, whether that is digital, whether that is coming here to do stuff, coming here to present stuff, because we're also a civic space. Lots of places to charge things, lots of places to come and have lunch. We're still working on wireless access that'll burst to a gig. That is still going on. Our outside wasn't very pretty. We've cleaned it up. We work with partners all the time. Everything we do it with partners. This is the Hamilton County professional, they have a name. Do you remember the name, Kyle? It's they're like really into plants. Yeah, they're into plants. Anyway, the growing society, blah, blah, blah. But again, they came and did the work. We contributed the stuff. We got them the dirt. We got them the plants. They designed it. They planted it. They made it go. And here you go. Here it is today. And the fountain's fixed. But here's our 4th floor, where we're speaking to you from today. Again, this is what it looked like when I got here in March of 2012. It was basically the storage unit for the library. In their defense, anybody who's had to get rid of government property, it's an incredibly difficult thing to do. No one has the space for it. And so they got tired of asking people for, access to warehouses and started the 4th floor as a warehouse. We finally got permission to have an auction, and we got rid of all of this stuff. So this is what it looks. This is what about 14,000 square feet of raw space looks like after you clean it all out. It has all the appeal of a factory space. The sound was horrible. It's still not the best, but it's better. We've had some improvements. The old 1976 fluorescent lighting, concrete floors, everything's exposed, no windows, no natural light, no bathrooms, and it's loved. This was our first event that we did here, 450 people. It was called WTF, or Will This Float? And basically what people did, they came in, used our access, they used our wireless and voted up or down via Twitter. It was one of those programs that if the wireless had failed, the entire program failed. So the fact that it worked without a hitch was a huge success for us. It also meant that we had 450 people come in this building who'd never been here before. We made our big move out into the public and wanting to start providing services. This was back in, I want to say, March of probably 2013 or even 2014. We had a maker day on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. We had anybody who had a 3D printer could come and set up a booth and talk about their 3D printer. And we ended up with over 1,000 people coming in on a beautiful Saturday spring afternoon. And we were absolutely floored at the interest, and it was every age from babies all the way up to grandmothers 90 years old. So we realized that everybody had a sign on their computer or on their 3D printer station, and the library didn't. And so I had a librarian who told me, Corinne, I'm on it, I'll take care of it. This wasn't exactly what I was thinking, but so this is the sign she came up with for our 3D printer, but it also ended up being the most tweeted photograph of that event. So sometimes the director doesn't know best. And so here we are, we've got a bunch of 3D printers, you got a vinyl cutter, we love our vinyl cutter, it's probably our favorite toy. We just have a lot of stuff that you can make stuff with, and it's more tinkering than anything else. As you can see, I talked about the sound a little bit. Our maintenance guy, the one behind the jail thing, he and his team built these soundproof panels for us. So we're in a better place to have events now. These are my maintenance guys. They're just magic. They can fix just about anything, and they're super creative, and they have a real good eye. So it's not like when my dad paints and he's, it's like, oh my Lord, just don't ask your dad to paint. These guys really know what they're doing. This was when we opened up our gig lab. We took a corner of that fourth floor, and basically we took everything off the network in this section of the room. It's pretty much an open gig network for people to experiment with what they can do with a gig. We've got a great digital team who's overseeing it. It's really just getting off the ground, but we're pretty excited about the potential for this, certainly for entrepreneurship, certainly for people who are just trying to get their legs under them about developing and understanding that concept. So this is the public space where that can happen. These are some of the guys. Jake's no longer with us. He's moved on working with a startup group, but here are the other guys who don't work for us, who help us with that. That's the other thing. You can't and you shouldn't do any of this by yourself. It's about partnering with other people. It's about bringing the community in, finding really smart people in town and letting them help you. You don't have to have all of that pressure of being the expert anymore. You're allowed to have help with this, and you're going to need it. The other thing that I love about what's going on with the fourth floor is that we're moving into, right now everything we've talked about has been high tech. We're moving into a low tech environment. This is a woman who's, I think you all, I'm trying to remember if you all have Etsy over there, but Etsy.com is out of New York. It's an online, like craft fair, I would call it. People make things and they buy like a little store, and then they take pictures of their stuff and then they sell it. And so this is an Etsy, and every city has like its own little Etsy group. So we have a partnership with Etsy.com, and then they've connected us with Etsy-Nuga. The Etsy-Nuga people are helping us with making for kids, right? So this is a woman, I think it's wedding dresses that she makes, but she doesn't have the room at home to cut her stuff up, so she comes here to work her patterns, but then she's right next to the guys who are working on computer stuff. So we're definitely going high tech, low tech, and they do really mesh well together. We bought a loom. This has its good days and its bad days. People are really into it, and then other people are like, whatever. But it's really fun to have, and we didn't pay a lot of money for it. I think we got it on eBay. Craigslist, there you go, Craigslist. We're also doing, I'm not very crafty. This is like t-shirt, screen printing, thank you, Kyle. Kyle's prompting me. This is screen printing. We do this not only with adults, but we do it with kids. So we also are now able to have programs that are age agnostic. And it becomes about the service delivery or what the service you're providing, not about this is for the 9th graders, this is for the teens, this is for the seniors. It's more if you're interested in screen printing, you're welcome to participate. And this has actually been way successful. The other thing that we do is this is Justin Henke. He's getting ready to leave us. He's about to become a library director. We're super proud of him. But he's our youth services teen and tween coordinator. And one of the things that we do in the space on the 4th floor is that we try new services. We look at what service delivery, how can we deliver this to the public, and do we even want to deliver it to the public? And then what we do, the next phase, is we push it out, usually on our 2nd floor, which is run by Justin. So we've worked out most of the kinks on things, and then start pushing it out to the public so that it becomes more of a public service and not something special that's up on the 4th floor. We've done that with 3D printing. Dev is a program that we also, multiple partners, right? It's not just us, we provide the space, and we get the kids. But this is Dev or Developing Developers. Everyone is doing this now. It's really just Code Camp. But it's super popular, and we get lots of kids. And again, like, there's no librarian here. These are all people from the community who are helping us teach the classes, and then we get money from foundations who help us pay the teachers. I mean, it's a whole mess of people who are helping us do this stuff. And it's all about people tinkering and making stuff. Showing their wares. We have, of course, like anytime, especially with teens, you gotta like show the parents that they've accomplished something. So that's what this is. Again, high tech, low tech. This was Miss Pac-Man was a thing that Justin found, I think, again on Craigslist. It finally died, but it was also really interesting because it was something that the parents came and used with the kids, because the parents, like, I understand, and I played Miss Pac-Man. The other stuff, I don't have any clue about. So it was an opportunity for them. Also, the low tech with the kids, we're seeing this is like a button maker, which is my most expensive service to date. But then we found out that the kids were selling the buttons at school, and that explained why we were going through supplies like nobody's business. So now it's our young middle school entrepreneurial program. This is a sandbox that Jake, who's no longer with us, but Jake came up with this. And basically, it's a way for you to teach geography to kids. It's really super cool. And this is Jake showing the kids how it works. They're basically able to create mountains, and they're able to make lakes and rivers, and they can see what happens. So now we push the tinkering out to the little ones, and this is kind of like, oh, what's it called, Kyle? Is it itty bits or little bits? Little bits, I think, little bits. And so, you know, the kids love this. I was at an opening of a makerspace at an elementary school this week, and I mean, there were a couple of little boys at the little bits counter that they didn't engage with anybody, but they played the whole time. But they're learning stuff while they're playing, and we don't mention that they're learning stuff. This is Megan. She is our program extraordinaire. She really has an amazing way of thinking about this, and she really has taken our DIY stuff to a whole new level. She has a sewing background. She does she's the one who does the t-shirt stuff. She really totally gets it, and she can work with any kind of group of people. She's age agnostic. Allie Burns is our early literacy specialist, but she's also our branch manager, who turned a really small, pretty much unused, I wouldn't even call it underused, I would say unused library, and turned it into a children's library. We got all the books out of there. We started creating space for the kids. We got shelf-friendly books for them. But then we stuck the adults in a little itty-bitty room and told them it was a reading room, and this was their quiet space. And they absolutely love it, right? So that kind of, and they have a 3D printer. They do all that kind of makey stuff with the kids and with the parents down there with families. And then just so you know, we do some traditional stuff. This was a New York Times best-selling author, Jeff Shara, whose latest work, Smoke at Dawn, was about the Battle of Chattanooga. And for those of you who don't know your history, like I don't know my history, Chattanooga is a really hot Civil War spot. But this was on the 4th floor, so this was so the 4th floor functions as a civic space, it functions as a tech space, it's a maker space, it's a do-it-yourself space. It's really pretty phenomenal, and it's a meeting space for people as well. We're always getting input from the community. If you drop a card in this box and you leave us contact information, we're going to call you, we're going to email you, whatever your point of contact you want it to be. Because we need to know how you feel about things and what you're thinking and what you want. Like the kids on the 2nd floor, if one more kid puts that they want a zip line on the 2nd floor and a pool. It's like, guys, it's not gonna happen. So, but you know, you do get really good information from the public, and you need to pay attention to them. I'm a real believer in that in libraries you need to create teams that don't look like you and don't act like you. You need people who are really creative, people who know how to do things like Megan and Kyle. And I'm here to tell you that they're not easy to manage, but they're worth every moment of it. Competitive people, I'm very competitive. I'm not going to let you get stuck in the planning process. I'm not going to let you collect data till the end of time before I make a decision. We need to move. You need your control freaks, the people who really are going to count your bean counters, the ones who cross the T's, the ones who make sure the bills get paid, and collaborative folks, the ones who want to work with everybody and they want everybody to be happy. And there's lots and lots of those in libraries. So you really do need to build a team of people whose values compete with each other. And I think it makes for great conversations, and it makes for great work. We try to work in a team environment. Just yesterday, Kyle and Sean, who's our open data specialist, and Rob, who is our ILS coordinator, came and spoke with me. For those of you, I'm sure you know, Nate Hill is leaving, also going on to be a new director. And you know, we're talking about what's next and where do we move next. And Kyle and Rob and Sean came and talked to me about how they see them, you know, how they work as a digital team. And the fact that Kyle reports to Mary and Rob reports to me and Sean reports to so-and-so doesn't mean that they can't work as a team, because it's all about the projects that we do. So we move stuff through. We really try to, our changes are really made via projects more so than I would call a hierarchy type of an environment. Although I have to have a hierarchy. I've got to find a place to poke you into the organizational chart, but it doesn't mean that we can't work across the lines. In fact, it's critical that we work across the lines. So we're really excited about what the future brings and the potential of these guys really solidifying their partnership and working together as a digital team and really starting to make some stuff happen with our website, really building a foundation that we really desperately need. Because as much as we're having fun doing really cool things and participating in really great community projects and programs, we still have a lot of structure and infrastructure issues to deal with, and we really do at this point in the game. We're 3 years in. We really need to start taking that seriously. If we're going to sustain the creativity and the innovation, you've got to have some structure around it. I came into a system that had a bunch of people who were retired in place. I love this because this was my staff when I got here. It's much better now. But I always like to tell people, like, as you're doing this and as you're trying to create these spaces and you're trying to bring about this change, and the idea that you're going to have people making wedding dresses and Arduinos in your library, you're going to get some blowback. But it's to be expected. And this kind of always makes me feel better. Because when I got here, you know, I had people on my staff who were like, put me in, coach, let me do this. I can help you, I'm totally in, whatever you want, let me do it. I had a whole bunch of people who were like sitting on the fence saying, tell me, you know, show me what you got and I'll let you know if I'm coming along anytime soon. And then I have what I call my laggards, right? It didn't matter what I would do, it didn't matter what you said, it didn't matter who was included, who came to the program. They were never going to be, you're never going to get them on board. It's never going to happen. They're not going to be there for you. They're going to do everything they can to sabotage you. They don't want any kind of change. And the thing to remember is that they're not just like this here with you. They're like this at home too, right? I mean, these are people who are just not happy. And you can't waste your time and your energy on them. You got to find a place, put them where they're going to do the least amount of damage. Make sure that they stay out of your way and you stay out of their way until their retirement. These are also the people who can usually tell you to the moment how long they have until they retire. So find a spot for them and everybody stays out of their way. The rest of them, the ones in the middle, are the ones you focus on. We also buy anything that anybody wants, as long as I can get it through any vendor. That means video, what you want to watch, listen to, or read. I'm happy to buy it for you. Kyle, we're working on a new presence, a new design presence, which we're really happy about. Kyle is teaching us about how we need to be strong in our presence and in our logo, and that we spend way too much time giving people all the information of how to find us when we're really easy to find. So he's really helping us with our identity and our self-worth and our self-esteem as an organization. Working on the website, I just spoke about that a minute ago, and then also taking it into the different environments that we need to take it into. So this is the old library, it's going away. That's the stuff that needs to go away so you can create collaborative spaces. It doesn't have to just be for making, sometimes it can just be for people to meet. So we've moved into what David Lankus calls the new librarianship. I love David. I think he's totally on it. I was following him. He's out in Kansas right now doing an IMLS talk, and I was following him on Twitter yesterday. And he was like, the community, how did it go? He said, the community is not our client. We are the community. We are as much a part of what's happening as the people in the community. So just like I said, it's like we're learning, they're learning. We just happen to be that spot for a lot of this stuff to happen. But we're learning as much as everybody else. So it's about experimentation, it's about making stuff, it's about doing. And it's been really successful for us. We've seen people come in. We've got people using us now who haven't been in this building ever, not since they were kids, and so it's a different space for them, and they really, really like it. So it's been successful for us. So am I able to take questions? Are we able to go back and forth on questions, Kyle? So that's kind of like my 20-minute spiel, right, about what's going on here. And it changes. I got to tell you, it changes all the time. So you guys have any questions for me or anything you want me to talk about that I missed?
Thanks, Corinne. That was really helpful and gave us a really great insight into what you're doing in the fourth floor. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we're getting better.
Good. Perhaps I'll just ask the floor if there's any questions. Has anybody got a question for Corinne? No? What I'd like to ask Corinne is, from a finance point of view, how did you actually get started in terms of funding, buying equipment? Did you just allocate some of your normal budget to this, or have you had donation contributions?
Well, we started out, yeah, we just did it. First of all, okay, so we wanted to get like the basic maker tools. And it wasn't a lot of money. It was about $10,000, and so, no, it was $20,000. But here's what we did. Our state library every year has what they call a grant for technology in libraries. And so we applied for all of this makerspace stuff. And I'm here to tell you that initially they turned us down. They were like, no, you're going to buy a PC. And so I talked to the state librarian about what we were trying to do here, and he was super, super supportive. And so he gave the thumbs up and let the money roll to us to do it. So that's how we got it off the ground. We bought a 3D printer, the vinyl printer, the vinyl cutter, the laser cutter. We bought some Mac computers, and again got the floor cleaned up, right? That was pretty much the first year getting us off the ground. And then after that, we started moving staff, taking care of staff. We did that out of operating. I had to move stuff around and make decisions to not do things so that we could do this. I am completely out of the reference business. This is a library that was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on reference materials. That stopped the minute I walked in the door. I did a lot of stuff with salary savings. So somebody would leave and I would wait a while to fill the position, not only to get the salary savings, trust me, that helped, but also it gave me an opportunity to kind of step back and think about what I really needed next. We have this, in the States, we have this line of people who are not certified, graduate student librarians, but what we call library associates or library assistants. And we had all of these requirements, and it was basically for history and English majors who couldn't get a job, right? That's been the traditional way we would fill those positions. And so what we ended up doing was we took out the education requirement and we copied the Apple Genius Bar description, job description and job ad, and we turned it around and called them smart people. And we got an entirely different group of job applicants. And so we ended up getting people who were really, we specifically said you had to have an interest in technology, you had to be curious, you had to be, you had to keep up with the technology. We weren't going to train you day in and day out on, the Kindle has a new version and I'm going to show you how to download to it. So we ended up with a different group of people that really got on board with this stuff. So it was really about a culture shift. I didn't get like big buku money and, it wasn't a funded by a foundation type of idea, right? We really did do it out of our own pockets. And then every year we get that LSTA money and it's like, what do we need next? And then when we have a partnership and we have a program here, we always get something out of that regard. How do we get the ocular, what do you call that thing? Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift, how did we get that? Mozilla helped us with that. So Mozilla has partnered with us And they do a lot of projects out of here, but we always end up getting stuff, right, from the projects that we run. And so then you get to add to your toolbox of stuff. And then we, you know, so it's like every year, you know, you get to add something. And it's amazing, like 3 years goes by pretty quickly. So we started out really small, but we had a big space, and now we're getting bigger and bigger, and it's kind of cool. So yeah, you don't have to have a lot of money to do this, but you have to, whoever's pulling the purse strings has got to be willing to adapt a little bit and shift some money around and spend it differently and be kind of open to that. Hello. Did I lose you? I rambled a bit, which would make sense if you, I could see why you go like, we're gonna go have coffee. Hold on. Did we lose him? Did we lose them? Can we call them back, or do they have to call us back? Mm-mm.
We can get back.
Hey guys.
Oh, hello.
We're back.
Good.
At what point did you lose me? Because I rambled.
No. We've got a room full of interesting people here. I'm just going to see if there's any questions on the floor, Corinne. Just one moment. Anybody got a question for Corinne? Any questions you'd like to ask? At the back? Corinne, I've got a question from Anna Matthews. She's asking about how do you spread this out to the libraries network? What do you have for spreading the love of digital making?
How did I spread it to other libraries? Like, how did I talk about it?
And how do you run other libraries? How do you connect together as a network?
How do I connect with other libraries? It's almost one of those things that it's not just me. You know, it's that magic networking word. I attend a lot of professional conferences. I'll be at ALA in June. I plan to go to Aarhus for their opening in September for their next conference. We stay in touch. You know, I'm a terrible email person. So that's been my downfall, but everybody here is engaged with their own group of people, right? Like Nate has his group who he hangs out. So we're others.
I think the question was, in terms of Chattanooga Public Library, do you have other libraries within your state or authority that are linked to you?
Oh, type it up for me, because you're breaking up. Type it up to Kyle. Because I think you hear me better than I hear you.
One moment.
Because I heard other public libraries. What did he say?
Other libraries in your state, is there a local network?
Oh, a local network of public libraries in my state. The big ones, we all play together. Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. We do have, we are connected. The directors are connected. We go to each other's stuff, right? Like these guys went up to Nashville not too long ago when they opened up their new makerspace. So everybody went up, not only to support them, but to check it out, right? It's the new competition. So we do have that kind of stuff. Our Tennessee Library Association is not very strong. I don't mess with it too much. I do get a lot of support from the state library, so they're really helpful. I'm also sitting right on the border with Georgia. So I also know some folks in the public libraries over in Georgia. And Alabama, I border Alabama, so I also kind of play with them a little bit too, not so much. But we are like a support network. So it's nothing like when I was in Texas, it was huge. When I was in Texas, it was huge, it was powerful. They had really figured out how to do that, connect those public libraries together. It was phenomenal. It was a great, great group of people. But Tennessee, we're not quite there yet, but we're trying.
You also said, do you charge a membership fee to members, and do you charge for materials?
Okay, so if you live within the city limits of Chattanooga, you pay for this with your property taxes. So your card is free. If you live outside of Chattanooga, a library card is $50. Here comes Nate. So if you use the equipment, we charge a really small fee for materials. We're barely getting the material costs back. But if you have a library card, this is your space. You can come on up and use it. We're good with that. We're not making any money on this. Hey, what are you doing? Talking to Exeter. This is Nate. Just come say hi. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's look at you. You're all dressed up.
Well, because Nell's thing.
Nell's thing. Hi.
What's up? All right.
We'll wait to.
All right, later, Nate.
Sorry.
All right, guys.
Okay, I have one more question, Corinne.
Sure.
What support do you provide to businesses? How do you encourage businesses to expand what they're doing and to?
What kind of support do we provide?
Yes.
You mean to the public?
No, to encourage them to develop their business models.
Helping them with small business models. We don't help people like with business plans and that sort of thing. What we give them is access to space. We also give them if they're in the part of the process where they don't have an office yet and they want to meet people and interview people, they can certainly use the space for here. We have also had small businesses who've used us as a transition space while they're leaving one office space, waiting for the other one to open up, and they'll stay here for a few weeks. We give them access to the equipment here. That's how we support them. I would say that the entrepreneurial people we get are more the tech people, but we have a lot of accelerators around town that are much more engaged in helping them get that business model going or getting the business plan written, and we can certainly help them connect them to that. And I think the connection is the key word. We do a lot of connecting for people and introducing people, and I know somebody who I think can help you with that, and you should go talk to them and you should go over there. I think they have money, they might be able to help you. So we're more about giving them access to space and then helping them connect to the people they need to connect to in town to make it happen. It's more of a referral almost.
We very much enjoyed you.
All right, guys, sorry about all the hiccups with the tech, but you know, what are you going to do?
No, but we appreciate your time, and it's fantastic listening firsthand about your experience. We look forward to working at some point in the future, but in the meantime, we'd like to say thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye.